I'm gonna try to.
So
I'm gonna avoid the video game. I think.
yeah, don't
I'd have to.
don't
I'd have to have a lot of spare time to do the video game. Anyways,
yeah don't.
we're live. So hold on.
All right.
Let me jump in here, and we'll move this down like this, and we'll go down to the double screens. Here we go. All right. So apparently, all I have for us today as my desktop image is my Eidolon from working on my thing. We probably need to throw up something a little bit more pertinent to what we're discussing. But
Want to throw up the statement?
oh yeah. Let me go grab the statement real quick. Can you catch us all up on what's going on?
Um. Okay. Pretty much. Today, Wizards put out a statement on D&D Beyond, kind of talking about the all the the stuff that's been going on with the OGL and people being upset and stuff like that. And pretty much what they said is that they're gonna they've heard us, and that they're gonna go ahead and remove the revenue thing and go back and look at the OGL. And I think one of the things that we mentioned was I don't think they mentioned in here, but just talk that it instead of it being OGL 1.1, it's going to now be OGL 2.0.
Well, let's read it. We got it up.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll take it paragraph by paragraph.
Yeah.
We will be as decent and respectful as we possibly can. We're going to try to weigh in on both sides. We're going to be representing the Corpo origin story, and also, of course, Street Kid. Because, I mean, are either of us really good with cars? I don't think either of us is good with cars. So,
I mean, my dad is a car salesman, so.
All right. So also, I guess also we'll weigh in for the Nomads. Too. All right. So. An update to the open game license OGL, released 8 hours ago. Doesn't feel like 8 hours ago, but I guess it was. When we initially conceived of revising the OGL, it was with 3 major goals in mind. First, we wanted the ability to prevent the use of D&D content from being included in hateful and discriminatory products. Period. Second, we wanted to address those attempting to use D&D in Web3 blockchain games and NFTs by making clear that OGL content is limited to tabletop role-playing content like campaigns, modules, and supplements. Don't see video games in there anymore. It's interesting. And third, we wanted to ensure that the OGL is for the content creator, the home brewer, the aspiring designer, our players, and the community, not major corpos like us. Sorry. It says not major corporations to use for their own commercial and promotional purposes. Period. Okay. So if I was a big corpo and I wanted to make people like me again and feel sorry for me, I would definitely bring up other things that they don't like more. Like NFTs, racism, homophobia, all that stuff. Now, I understand that there was an issue with some open game license content being used to make pretty bad stuff, and that the thing is like they could have made the addendum, right? Hey, we want to make sure that you're not doing these things, right? And I'm sure everybody would have been like, I don't like the fact that you're changing it, but I see that you're changing it for these reasons, and that's good. Like, I can't imagine that there would have been too much backlash if they were like, yeah, we want to make sure that it's not being used for NFTs and racism. Like, agreed, right? Like, agreed. Like, no,
yeah.
Okay. But the third statement, I feel is patently untrue. I feel that is not true, because yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I mean, what's your take on it?
Okay, so that last statement, I think, is the kind of okay. So that last statement talks about how they wanted to only be for these people, and the thing is that I don't think Wizards realizes how much third-party people, third-party corporate, members make. Because in their last statement they said like, yeah, that's only like 2 people that make this much money off of the OGL, and a lot of people got really upset about this. And I think the main thing behind this is that they right now, for WotC, D&D is not a tabletop game; it's a brand.
Right.
And as a corporation, you want to make sure you have control over your brand for use in anything else that you're going to use it in, like a movie
or
a video game.
They're talking about a TV show
a TV show or anything like that. And they don't want another person to say, okay, we don't need WotC at all in this. We're just going to use this OGL and go make a TV show.
Right.
Or we don't need WotC involved with this. We're going to go use this OGL and go make a book. Or we're going to make an amusement park off of this OG. Like Disney can go ahead and make an amusement park off of this.
I mean, as long as they don't call it Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah,
like
as long as they don't call it Dungeons and Dragons.
When we do third-party publishing through Drive-Thru RPG, for example, we're not allowed to say Dungeons and Dragons. We just say this is a great 5th level adventure. Period.
Yeah. And one of the things though is that nowadays, I'm a perfect example of this. Before I got into the hobby, I used to think tabletop RPGs was Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, right. We were saying Band-Aid is bandages, but it's also the brand name Band-Aid.
So
right?
If I go to a amusement park and it's about TTRPGs, I'm gonna assume it's about Dungeons and Dragons.
But are they going to try to shut down all the Renaissance festivals, And there is already an amusement park that's based around Dungeons & Dragons, where you could go and everyone's in character the whole time, and,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and Caden X pointed out in chat, the Vox Machina TV show, they don't say this is a Dungeons & Dragons TV show. Right?
I know.
But everybody knows it's Dungeons & Dragons TV show.
But if you're Hasbro / WotC and you have a brand, and you want to make sure you have control of that brand so that you can do that stuff, like make movies, make TV shows, and make sure that people know that, hey, when you do something like this, it's this is the WotC way of doing it. So it's kind of a combination of that and the first one, where if somebody use the OGL to go make a TV show, and that TV show has a bunch of stuff that WotC doesn't agree with.
Right.
But so I can
playing
understand why
playing Solasta last weekend. Solasta never says this is a Dungeons and Dragons game.
It doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to, but I don't know.
That's the problem.
It feels like this is the kind of stuff you can't copyright Might and Magic. Well, okay, you can because there's a series called Might and Magic, but you can't like fantasy in general, like fantasy magic.
They tried to do it with Lord of the Rings, right?
Well, they tried. Yeah.
Yeah.
But look at. All right. So before there was Warcraft, there was Warhammer. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And before there was Warhammer, there was Dungeons and Dragons. And before there was Dungeons and Dragons, there was Lord of the Rings. And it's a genre. I feel like you can't copyright a genre. Do you know what I mean? If Vox Machina used in-game terms to describe what they were doing, sure, that would be kind of a problem. But they don't say, behold, I am a paladin and now I can smite for an extra 1d8 damage. They don't say stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's still... Sure. Yeah. But,
So continuing past what this means is that... they're trying to hold on to their brand, and they're trying to do that. And the problem is that they're trying to blanket control their brand, because there's a much better way you can do this.
Oh, absolutely.
Without doing all this. And the problem is that I don't think this wasn't thought out all the way into a way that gives them the goal that they're trying to get. Because if they're trying to make these 3 things happen. Like they're saying, and it's not necessarily about, because there's no way it could be about the money from the other people, because they don't make enough money to even hurt WotC at all.
Well,
right?
Some would argue it's less about taxing your opposition as removing your opposition, right? Yeah, because even someone did the math, right? If Wizards of the Coast had to pay 20% revenue to someone else, they would go out of business. Like,
Of course.
yeah,
Of course.
no company could be sustained paying those kind of fees.
But I don't think they understand that people making just third-party content that's tabletop related stuff is making that much money, or they wouldn't have put that there. Because
Right.
as soon as because why would they do that and screw over their entire base and then cause all this issue?
Mhm.
And I don't think anyone is that, because if these are the three things they're trying to do, putting that revenue thing on top of there should only affect the people that last part, which is supposed to be major corporations doing stuff.
If you want it to be a major corporation, you need to put a bigger price tag than $750,000. Because nowadays, any Joe Schmo, any Nancy can just get $750,000 from Kickstarter. But on Kickstarter, you have to pay taxes on that money. So you don't even get all the money you make on you lose a bunch of it to taxes before you even get the money. Then you have the money and you have to somehow still make the product, but then someone's coming in taking some of that money right there, and then they're going to take some of the money from the sales if you actually make it to the finish line.
And so that's what I'm saying, like this was poorly done, but I understand what they were trying to do. They just did a horrible job at this.
Yeah.
And
I think they were trying to choke out current competition and stamp out future competition.
I don't think they care, because future competition for sure, because future competition, when D&D becomes a brand and they start making movies and books and stuff like that, then anybody else who tries and does that with this, yes, they're trying to stamp them out. I don't think they cared about Paizo or Kobold Press or any of them. I don't think they understood how much money they were making.
Yeah.
If this would be affected them. I think they were thinking about, okay, we're about to make a D&D movie, and we need to make sure that our D&D brand is controlled by us, because the next time we don't want somebody else going about and making another movie with like magic missiles in it and then thinking that it's D&D.
I guess, but like somebody on Twitter is doing a series of tweets called like D&D spells and abilities in anime, and they're basically taking all of the spells and abilities from D&D and pointing out like really cool clips of those things being used or being demonstrated in an anime. But like the person doesn't shout magic missiles before they do that, and also magic missiles isn't a trademark. They didn't go through and trademark all of their spells.
I know. But the idea is that when the average person thinks of magic missiles, what do they think about?
A really funny skit from the late 90s about I cast magic missile at the darkness, obviously. But after that, I guess they think about Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. So
and then when you think about Dungeons and Dragons, that if the average grandma goes and looks up Dungeons and Dragons, they're gonna find WotC.
What is the harm though of small boys giving you free advertising? Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I don't understand.
But they're thinking small boys are not going to be in that 750.
Oh, they were just that completely out of touch.
Yes.
Yeah. As somebody points out in chat, Valda's Spire made 710,000 on Kickstarter alone. So Mage Hand Press pulling in more money than that, but after production cost, after paying people. Paying for art, like
why in the world would if someone makes a major adventure like that, like Valda's, all that does is means that more people are playing Dungeons and Dragons, which means they're more likely to buy your products and make subscriptions to go on D&D Beyond and actually put in all that stuff into the homebrew section so that people can use D&D Beyond and use that. Like that's not I don't think they because that's just them shooting themselves in the foot. The problem is they're trying to think about the future, where they want more money from the D&D brand, and they just don't understand. Yeah, they don't understand
they found out. They find it out. Yeah.
And then the other thing here, though, is that if you notice in the first sentence, they said these are the 3 goals, right?
Yeah.
And there's I guess we need to go a little bit further.
Let's keep going. All right. Driving these goals were 2 simple principles. 1, our job is to be good stewards of the game. Questionable. And 2, the OGL exists for the benefit of the fans. Agree. Nothing about those principles has wavered for a second. I don't think that's true. I find that entire series of words to be very hard to swallow after the last 2 weeks. Moving on. That was why our early drafts, they're calling them drafts, even though they were sent out to people with NDAs and contracts, but they're calling them drafts now. Because I guess they can, because everybody's stuck in an NDA, so nobody wants to get sued. That's why our early drafts of the new OGL included the provisions they did. That draft language was provided to content creators and publishers so their feedback could be considered before anything was finalized. Their feedback, guys. The NDAs, the contracts,
You know what they should have did?
the fact that the leaked document specifically said that they were getting a special opportunity to get in at a better rate than everybody else. To do what? To proofread it? Okay.
I feel like why didn't they just you know what they should have did? They should have released this the OGL as an unearthed kana.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. So then let's keep going. In addition to language allowing us to address discriminatory and hateful conduct, again, we want you to know that we're trying to protect everyone from racism and discrimination, obviously, and clarifying what types of products the OGL covers. Our drafts included royalty language designed to apply to large corporations attempting to use OGL content. It was never our intent to impact the vast majority of the community, period. So, there's more to read, but looking at this, come on, man. This is some corporate bullshit right here.
Oh, of course.
This is I feel bad. And if you're someone that's watching this VOD, or you're in chat and you actually believe the words that are here on this page, I am sad for you. I'm also a little jealous of you, because I would like to be that like hopeful and that like I guess naive, because like this is just a big pile of lies. Like this is so much backpedaling. We fucked around and we found out. And we're not done yet, which you'll find out later on in the document. Someone posted in chat, Root of All Beers, quoting something I believe from Reddit, quote, and they really underestimate how much their community cares about this exact sort of stuff. A community where some take pride in being called rules lawyers aren't going to let something like this slip under the radar. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. These are not normal consumers or normal people that they are dealing with for the most part. Okay, so this is where it gets really hard to read. However, it's clear from the reaction that we rolled a 1. Oof. Yes, hello fellow kids. Hello fellow D&D players.
That's not even the worst one in this document.
God, it hurts so bad. I'm surprised they didn't like put a gun to like Matt Mercer's back and make him read that in a video to us. Like, good God. It has become clear that it is no longer possible to fully achieve all 3 goals while, hold on to your hats, still staying true to our principles. What does that mean? Which principle do you not want to stay true to? The one where you don't like racism? The one where you don't like NFTs? Or the one where you don't get to control everything? Which are the 3 ones that you're having trouble like with? I'm confused. So here's what we're doing. The next OGL, because we failed this time, the next OGL will contain the provisions that allow us to protect and cultivate the inclusive, third time, by the way, they want you to know how much they hate racism and homophobia and how much they're fighting for you. Every one of you out there, us queer folks, people of color, everybody. They're fighting for everybody out there, right? That's what they're letting you know. This third time they thought that they needed to mention how important it is that they are protecting everybody. Unfucking real. Excuse me. The next OGL will contain the provisions that allow us to protect and cultivate the inclusive environment we are trying to build, and specify that it covers only content for tabletop RPGs. Well, that's interesting, right? Because, I mean, you were saying earlier that they're concerned about their brand, and they're concerned about their TV shows, and they're concerned about their movies, and they're concerned about the video games. But now they're saying, no, it was only ever about the tabletop RPGs.
Yeah, because what they want, they're okay if you're making money off of just making a PDF and an adventure, but they don't want you to use this to make a video game. They want you to use this to make a book. They don't want you to use this to make anything else other than content directly related to buying their books to do the do this game, play this game.
But hold on, in the next sentence it says, that means that other expressions, such as educational and charitable campaigns, so I guess Extra Life is still okay, live streams, like we're doing right now, cosplay, like we secretly do on, every other Friday night, VTT uses? VTT uses? That's a weird.
VTT uses.
Etc. will remain unaffected by any OGL updates. So Foundry and Roll20 can breathe a sigh of relief. Content already released under 1.0a will also remain unaffected.
Now, future content made under 1.0a.
That's right.
Nothing in here is saying that they're not going to revoke it, which is one of the major issues that people have with OGL.
So I guess if you manage to get your product made by, before they publish this document, hustle your butts. If you still got some stuff you got to publish, you might want to hustle your butts, because they're saying right now, content already released. Because why? It would be a legal nightmare for them to go after all the product that's already been released in the last 22 years. Like, nobody's got time for that.
Yeah.
Nobody's got time for that. It's just unreal. And then this stuff right here, they had already mentioned in the leak that they didn't care about charitable campaigns, live streams, cosplay, because that's free advertising. They did mention that they were going to go after VTTs, and I see that they backed off on that. And I hope that they realized what a huge mistake that was when Roll20 started a Find Your New Favorite Game campaign, where they started advertising, we have other stuff besides D&D, guys, which I thought was really ballsy of Roll20 to do that. But yeah, wow. Wow. What? It's wild.
Honestly, it's not that ballsy, because if their customer base is upset about somebody else and they have a I want some more money too, so I'm Roll20s. I'm losing money from Foundry. We have other things here. You want to exercise your right of being upset? Here, play a different game.
Absolutely.
We have different games.
And we are not in any way affiliated with Roll20, but I will also put out there that Roll20 also has some board games and some card games that you can purchase from their shop, so you can also just use it to play games with friends and family if you are not into Tabletop Simulator or don't want to mess with all that nonsense. Running, simpler stuff like that, the platform does a good job. Anyways, let's keep going. What it will not contain is any royalty structure. What it will not contain is any royalty structure. It will. It also will not include the license back provision that some people were afraid as a means for us to steal work. So, I'm not a super smart guy, and I'm not a lawyer or anything. I know how to speak the English language mostly, right? So here it says, some people were afraid it was a means for us to steal work. I mean, it kind of was, kind of was. But that's okay. Some people were. I don't know who some people are. Maybe all of us.
All the people. So some people are all the people that complained.
Yeah. So basically, all the people we were gonna steal from that said we were gonna steal. Anyways, that thought never crossed our minds.
Yeah, they said they never thought of stealing people's work. Why would we do that?
Why would a corporation built around making as much money as possible ever think about acquiring things for free? That's ridiculous. Oh my god.
I mean, one thing though is that if they did do it, there would be so much more. There would be a lot of backlash again, and they would have lost a lot of PR. So, I mean, there is incentive for not doing it, but that doesn't stop them from doing it behind behind everybody's back.
Under any,
and then if they get caught, they have the legal.
Oh my god. Under any new OGL. I wonder if this is a legally binding document. Probably not, since it's just a blog post. No. You will. Yeah, that's the other thing to keep in mind, guys. This is literally a blog post. It has no meaning whatsoever. So these are words.
It's since it's an official statement. It can be used if they did ever got put into court and the stuff that was written here, it could be used as evidence or as something like that. But if it's not legally binding.
Right. Okay, let's see. They could just say that they were role playing being decent, and then that wasn't yeah. It was all about PR. It's a PR stunt. Oh my god. Under any new OGL, you will own the content you create, period. We won't, period. It's always strong to do a 2-word sentence, so that's good. Any language we put down will be crystal clear and unequivocal on that point, period. The license back language was intended to protect us and our partners from creators who incorrectly allege that we steal their work simply because of coincidental similarities, period. Okay. Alright, I mean, it's hard to argue that because I see a lot of this bullshit all the time where somebody posts like their OC and they're like, that's my character. And it's like, who are you? Do you know what I mean? Like, no one's ever heard of you before. You have one follower on Twitter. It's your mom. Like, this person drove to Iowa and spied on you while you were like doodling in math class? No. So like, I kind of see where they're coming from on that regard. It's a good one. It's a good excuse. This is a very well written. Yeah. This is a very well written PR document.
I mean, and it makes sense. Like, what corporation wants to get into a spat over somebody? Like you're not thinking about any of the the people who are making homebrew stuff. You're not looking at them, thinking about them at all. And then when your designer makes something that is very similar to something that somebody made a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And now you're in a whole bunch of crap because of that.
K-Nix, when did this happen with the Artificer? Because the Artificer came out with the Eberron setting about 20 years ago? 18 years ago, something like that. So, I mean, but yeah, I wouldn't put it past people to say, oh, that was my idea, without even doing any research, without finding out, And it's like, it's cool. Like, there's a lot of human beings on the earth, so there's a good chance that every cool idea that you think is a cool idea that you came up with all by yourself has already been done. Honestly, when it comes to ideas, you either do it first or you do it better. Those are the rules. If you're just doing it the same, no one's going to care. All right, let's see. As we continue to invest in the game that we love and move forward with partnerships in film, television, and digital games, that risk is simply too great to ignore, which is your comments from earlier. The new OGL will contain provisions to address that risk. Interesting. It will provide provisions to address that risk, but everything you make will still be yours. Okay.
As long as it's it's content that is for TTRPGs
or virtual tabletop, which is apparently not the same as a video game.
Well, so keep in mind they say
virtual tabletop uses.
They said no. Well, yeah, uses, but keep in mind they didn't say that the content you make on these things is stuff that you own. Okay, let me go back to there real quick and go through this. Cultivate, specifically that it covers only content for teachers. That means that other expressions such as education, charitable campaigns, live streams, cosplays, VTTs, etc., will remain unaffected by OGL update. Doesn't necessarily mean. It just means they just won't be affected. Yeah. Remain unaffected.
So look at
Where
the
they were also
gap. Yeah,
saying,
look at the gap between content already released and under any new OGL. So what happens to everything that comes into existence between this sentence and this sentence? Because they don't mention anything about that. Content already released will remain unaffected, and under any new OGL, you will own the content you create. That still leaves room here for them to fuck around with the 1.0 OGL. Like, do you see?
oh, well, it means content already released under the. So if you release content, right now, it's under the, it's considered already released under the OGL.
Do they mean that if you continue to use the original OGL, you're fine? We won't come after you. But if you start using our new OGL, we will, because that is what happened with 4th edition.
I mean, no, that of course that's definitely what they're trying to do, because they did not say they're not going to make the 1.0a remain, as a authorized OGL. They don't, and nowhere in here do they mention that they're backtracking on that.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen? And I remember there was somebody, I don't know if you were the one who posted or somebody posted something. I remember seeing they were talking about how WotC was if WotC was worried about competition, they didn't really have any competition until this happened. And this is exactly what apparently this is exactly what happened during 4th edition, where nobody really cared about Paizo or Pathfinder during 3.5 until 4.0, until 4E came out, where they made a new license or something like that. Well, I don't know the whole history behind that, but
so the big drive with 4th edition was it was stagnant at the time, right? To compete with yourself, because a lot of the people at Paizo were the best people from Wizards of the Coast that were like, we're leaving and we're taking our good ideas with us. Anybody that follows like video games and video game companies, at one time, Square made the best games, right? Squaresoft made the best games. And then after a while, all of the best people at Square were like, I don't want to do this anymore. And they left, and they took their amazing brains and their amazing creativity and their amazing ideas with them, and they formed smaller RPG companies that would then compete with Square. So Paizo, a lot of the best people from Wizards of the Coast left to go work on Pathfinder and make Pathfinder and, build out this world the way they wanted, without any corpo, hands on their shoulder giving them a squeeze, okay? So the people that were left behind, the company gets bought out, bigger company comes in, they say, hey, what's going on here? Why aren't you making cool stuff? And they're like, well, why would we bother? Because Pathfinder, they make all the cool stuff already, and it's all interchangeable anyways. I don't know what to do. All our best people left. And so they're like, you know what's hot right now? Worlds of Warcraft's hot right now. Why don't we make a new Dungeons & Dragons that's so radically different from 3rd edition that we could stand out and we could say, this is something new, this is something modern, this is something great. We'll have a VTT. Never heard of that before? A virtual tabletop, baby. We're going to play D&D online. And everyone's like, that's not what Dungeons & Dragons is about. You don't play Dungeons & Dragons online. Are you crazy? And then they're like, no, trust me, it's going to be awesome. And we're going to have these computer programs that are going to help you build a really complicated character, and you're going to have all sorts of feats and abilities. It's going to be so cool. And everyone's like, no, that's dumb. What? That's crazy. They're like, no, it's really cool. Trust me. So they tried to make a game that was way ahead of its time. And they also, Dreamcast. And they also locked out the community at the same time, because they didn't want what happened with Pathfinder to happen with 4th edition. But the problem was, 1, 4th edition was way ahead of its time. 2, the people that were playing Pathfinder were loving Pathfinder. 3, the hobby wasn't nearly as saturated or as big as it is now, so there weren't a lot of nerds to compete for. You know what I'm saying? And most of the nerds were pretty damn happy over in Pathfinder land, where they were getting a new adventure path every couple of months. They were getting new product every couple of weeks. They had an incredible world that they had built out that was completely original and all new and all that. And 4th edition was like, cool, well, what about this? And like, me and a handful of people I know, we were like, fuck yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics, the board game, this is the best thing ever. I love this game. But I would even tell people, it's not really Dungeons and Dragons. It's more like Final Fantasy Tactics, the board game. Like, if you're into like Final Fantasy Tactics, you're really gonna like 4th edition D&D. And the people that I played with were like, oh, this is cool. I have like these ability cards just like in a video game, and I activate them and they have cooldowns, and I understand this. And like, it's like, yeah. And they're like, I could just use these abilities over and over again, and these abilities I can only use once in a while. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, this is great. I love this. But like, people that were used to how things had always been were like, I can't do this and I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
You combine that with the fact
There's a lot of
that,
stuff.
Yeah, you combine that with the fact that nobody could build anything else for it because the rule set was locked down. So like Sly Flourish, for example, he was like a leader in making 4th edition better, but he couldn't monetize any of the work that he did. So there weren't a lot of people like Sly Flourish that were putting the effort in because there was really no reward other than the goodwill of the community. Yeah. Right? Yeah, so like, this is a capitalist society, and we value being paid for our work. I'm a paid DM, so I'm right there with them, right? I wouldn't run fucking 6 games a week if I wasn't getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Sly Flourish, he had a very good job, and he could afford to do this as a labor of love. Now, thanks to the OGL, he was able to quit his nice-paying day job and do content creation full-time. He couldn't do that during the 4th edition era. He had to keep the day job because he couldn't make any money doing it. And that's why there weren't a lot of people supporting the product, because there was not a good incentive to do so. By letting people have a little piece of the pie, they make the whole bakery better. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's the strength of the OGL, and why Pathfinder has always been strong, and why 5th edition was the strongest it's ever been, the strongest the game has ever been. But they couldn't see that, and now we're repeating history, and we're going right back to it. And this new OGL, this 2.0 OGL, it's just going to be another 4th edition situation where, like Leah mentioned earlier, and a couple of people mentioned earlier today, I think, or yesterday, I don't know, it's just been blending together. 1D&D had a lot of cool ideas. Like, it was shaping up to be a pretty interesting system. But, like, I'm not going to be a part of that, you know? Like, especially if they're acting like this. And I don't think it's gonna succeed because because everyone was getting to have a piece of the pie. A very small piece of the pie. But that was making everything better. Everything was better. The best Wizards of the Coast 5th edition adventure they have is Curse of Strahd, and Raw, it's not even that good. Sorry, Jeremy Crawford. But with the community's contributions, with like Mandy Mods and Dragna Carta, Daniel Kahn, and all these other people, it's incredible. It's a masterpiece. And that is because people can feel valued and feel rewarded for contributing to make it better. It's not just a labor of love anymore. It's an achievement. It's a feather in your cap to help do these things.
And the sad part about all of this is that I think WotC, based off of this, like, these people are doing great work making our products better,
right?
But they're definitely not making like 700 that much money. They're just they're probably getting like a $10 thing, $5 thing every once in a while. That's all. So they're not going to be affected by this. So let's go ahead and make sure that these people who are going to make a next Baldur's, if somebody wants to make like a Baldur's Gate, but call it something else and use the same game mechanics, but change all the names and stuff like that, can make a video game and make more than that. I don't think they understood how much their community was, how much this will actually affect their community, the community that uses their product.
Yeah, because this is not only just a corpo. Hasbro is a corpo that I believe only 10% of the of the company or the board or whatever is actual like human beings. Like the rest are just like corporate yeah, like, well, no. What I mean is, you know how like on a board, like there'll be like people, like every Batman movie, right?
Yeah.
In every Batman movie, you have to see the fucking board of Bruce Wayne Industries or whatever bullshit it is, right? And it's all a bunch of people in a room, right? There's all the people in the room. At Hasbro, it's a couple of people, and then the rest are like, I'm a company. Like I'm an abstract force. Yeah, I'm another corpo that owns this corpo. Like so they're so detached from like the human experience that they could never conceive, right, of people doing something out of creative passion, right? They could never conceive of that. Like it's just it's so obvious they don't understand the community at all.
And like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so let's see. Where let's see. Okay. The new OGL will contain provisions to address that risk, but we will do it with a license, without a license back, and without suggesting we have rights. Wait. You already said that you didn't have rights to our stuff, but now you're saying without suggesting we have rights to the content you create. Why did you feel like you needed to say that again in a different way? And then it says, your ideas and imagination are what make this game special, and that belongs to you. What is that? Like, it doesn't... Like, I
mean, they're just repeating what they said in the beginning, where they're saying, like, hey, we're gonna... This new OGL means that you own all the stuff you make for TTRPGs.
Yeah, okay. A couple of last thoughts, and this is the cringiest part of the whole thing.
That's
if you guys in chat have not had this have not read this document or had this document read to you, strap in, okay? Because what I'm about to say out loud, I think I might vomit. But here we go. A couple of last thoughts. First, we won't be able to release the new OGL today because we need to make sure we get it right. But it is coming. Second, you're going to hear people say that they won and we lost because making your voices heard forced us to change our plans. Those people will only be half right. They won, and so did we. What? What is that? I am so confused. Like,
I'm not.
It's like the bad guy from Dodgeball. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody makes me bleed my own blood. It's like, what are you even saying? Who is they? Okay, like, why is this confrontational all of a sudden? I thought you just said that we're a community. You said community like 14 times. You said that you were gay and you were black and that you didn't like NFTs. You said all these things. You were one of us. But now apparently we're drawing lines in the sand. We're on different sides. Like, what is this?
No, what they're saying is some people will say that we're on different sides.
Oh, but they're not. They've always been on our side the whole time. Yeah. That's
what I said. Someone will say, there are sides, and one side lost and one side win. But no, we're all on the same sides, and we both won. It's just corpo speak for trying to say that we're a community.
Man,
bad writing and really bad writing.
Woof.
I thought when I saw the Nat 1 part, I was like, oh man, this is. Whew. What happened? And then I got down to here. I was like, "Oh no! What the?" Ooh.
God damn! At least they didn't say something like, "And together we'll turn that Nat 1 into a Nat 20."
No.
Oh no! They missed it. Oh my god!
Like that better.
So let me see. You're gonna hear. So breaking this down. A couple of last thoughts. This feels like a person that has apologized, but now that they've apologized, they want to tell you why they probably shouldn't have had to apologize. That's kind of what that feels like, right?
And that's typical corpo
Yeah.
Corporate apology.
Yeah, like
You apologize for them feeling bad.
Yeah. They're like, I want you to know that even though it might have sounded like we tried to apologize, we probably didn't need to apologize. And also, even though it kind of sounds like we gave up, we didn't give up. We definitely didn't give up. And even though you think that you bullied us into doing what you wanted, you didn't get that either. Just to be clear, like, we want you as the community, our community, to know that at the end of the day, we're going to keep trying to shit down your throat. Like, we just want to make sure that that's clear. That you guys have been giving yourselves ulcers for the last 2 weeks trying to make us understand. And we're going to pretend to understand poorly, but trust me when I say this, we don't understand. Like, that is what that very small paragraph says to me. Like, it's... I was like, you could have just stopped at "that belongs to you." Period. You could have just stopped, you know? Like, you weren't doing great, but you could have stopped on, like, a strong note. You know what I'm saying? But they had to be like, but actually, are we really wrong? Really? I mean, you know, are we really wrong? So then they're like, but we're not done yet, folks. Our plan was always, in italics, to solicit the input of our community before any update to the OGL. So they already lie about this up here, and now they're like, hey, maybe we should lie again about the same thing that we already lied about. Might as well. So, yeah, the drafts, again, same stuff they talked about up here. Why are they bringing this back up? We got past this together. We don't need to do this again. And they're like, but we kind of do, because we're kind of not wrong, right? The drafts you've seen were attempting to do just that. That's why we secretly sent them to a handful of people instead of just publishing it for everyone to see. That makes sense. We want to always delight fans. Do you? Have you read Spelljammer? Just saying. And create experiences together that everyone loves. We realize we did not do that this time, and we are sorry for that. So they're sorry that they didn't delight us. That's what they're sorry for. They're not sorry for, like, threatening the livelihoods of everyone that's involved in this process. They're not sorry about trying to renege on an agreement made 22 years ago that has done nothing but good for the tabletop community. They're not sorry about ruining the trust that everyone has in this community. No. They're just sorry we didn't delight you. It happens. So, incredible. Our goal was to get exactly the type of feedback on which provisions worked and which did not. I don't think that was your goal. I don't think that was the goal. And which we ultimately got from you, which you could have gotten from everyone by just honestly asking them. You've been asking us to fill out fucking surveys for the last 5 years about the dumbest shit in the world. You couldn't just ask us in a survey how we felt about this? You guys, they like surveys. Where were the surveys for this? If they really wanted our feedback, man, I filled out like a fucking 50 question survey for these assholes a couple of times. Why didn't they ask me about it? I would have filled out the survey. Where's the survey? Yeah. So mad. Oh my god. Any changes this major could only have been done well if we were willing to take that feedback, no matter how it was provided. So now they're trying to make us feel bad, no matter how it was provided. Bitch, you know how to get feedback. You send a survey. We've established you're good at sending surveys. If you want feedback, you send a survey. Don't say no matter how it was provided. You know how to get you know how to get feedback. You ask us. That's how you get feedback. Now they're trying to make everyone feel bad for, like, standing up to them, and they're trying to make they're trying to villainize the third-party creators whose livelihoods were and continue to be at risk by saying this offhanded remark, no matter how it was provided. Like, fuck you guys. Like, wow. What a passive-aggressive thing to throw in there after this paragraph of just cringe. They just throw that in there too? Oh my god. This was so painful to wait so long for this statement and then have it just be like this. And as someone pointed out in chat, they didn't even deliver it through WotC's website. They used their proxy, D&D Beyond, to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. And no human being got on video because they canceled that yesterday. And
that's smart.
Yeah, and it's like, so we just get a random blog post on their essentially the throwaway platform. Like, it's not even the real WotC website. It's not the Hasbro website. It's not the WotC website. We're like trickling down, like from the real culprits.
It's the front gate to the gated community.
Unbelievable. Thank you for caring enough to let us know what works and what doesn't, what you need and what scares you. Without knowing that, we can't do our part to make the new OGL match our principles. What about the community's principles? What about saying your principles? But once again, we're back to WotC's principles. Hasbro's principles. Finally, we'd appreciate the chance to make this right. Would you? We love D&D's devoted players, not according to a leak from people working for you, and the creators who take them on so many incredible adventures. We won't let you down.
Are there comments on this?
It's disabled for some reason.
Yeah,
they disabled comments. So weird.
Yeah.
And then someone on Twitter pointed out that, and I don't know if they left the artwork up or not. Oh, did they take it down? I think they did. Okay. So I posted it in the Discord chat. But you know how they have like art for like every article? Like every post gets like, embedded with like a picture? They use the art from Counterspell.
Oh no!
You didn't see that, Tom? Oh my gosh!
No, I didn't see that. Hold on. I'm going to Discord. Hold on.
Well, here, I'm bringing up the Twitter. Not Wizards of the Coast using art from a Counterspell card with the caption on the card, "This path is closed to you," when discussing a move which would disadvantage and harm thousands of community members, but saying they didn't mean to in the article. Like, wow. And then, but we don't. Wow. You can't even make this stuff up. It's like,
you know what? I bet maybe a person who's working at D&D Beyond who also doesn't like what he's doing is like, oh well, I'm gonna have to set up this article, so let's do this.
Yeah. I feel like maybe just to like kind of fuel the fire a little bit, let us know that this like has no actual intent. Maybe we're reading too much into it, but WotC owns about 150,000 pieces of art that they could have used. So why would they use this one? Like it's just these little things that just build up to like it doesn't even feel real. Like, to know that a couple of months ago I was super excited because I finally got off my ass and like published my first adventure, and I felt like hopeful, and then all these other third-party publishers, they were giving me advice and support while I was working on it, and I was like, I could finally stand next to all these people that I really respect and look up to. This feels so good. It's like, it's one of the things on my bucket list. I've been making free content my whole life, but I finally published something, and I got recognized for it. I got compensated for it. It feels really good. This is amazing, and I'm giving copies to my patrons, and it just feels like a really good situation to be in. And then it's like, and then this happens, and it's just like, yep. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, my take on this is that WotC's really out of touch, and does not understand their community at all, and try to do the quickest, easiest blanket option to prepare for the future. And by doing that, kicked all their all people holding them up in the all the people who were there, was walking, right beside them, making a content while they were walking ahead, just kick dirt and crap right into their face.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're about to go into the big leagues. We're about to make movies. D&D's about to become a brand. So we're gonna need this coat, and then they get this big blanket and they whip it around and it just throws all the dirt and trash into the people walking behind them.
Also, where is the article now on the front page? It's not even listed under posts anymore, is it? Oh, here it is. Look, they changed the art to be a woman handing or befriending a small squirrel.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, weird. That's so weird. Like, they changed the counterspell out when they got called on it to put a lady befriending small animals. Are we the small animals?
Small animals.
Are we the small animals? Am I reading too much into every picture that they choose? I don't know. Like, wow. I am so exhausted, man. Like, I have just wanted to talk to you about just D&D, just tabletop, see how Cyberpunk's going. I wanted to talk to you unironically about, deciding to learn Pathfinder, not fueled by indignity and rage. You know what I'm saying? I thought maybe we could talk about how fun Solasta was last Saturday, because it was an absolute joy. It was a blast. Nope, we got to talk about this shit. We can't just have a night. We can't just enjoy the hobby, because they've stirred everything up to the point that no one can focus on anything. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Well, I guess that maybe end on a good note.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we are close to time. So what's the good note?
We have work to look forward to.
That's true. That is true. And I think by now everybody probably knows what's going on. But here we go.
And you know what? You know how, like, in this thing they were like making references to D&D and tabletops were like, oh yeah, we rolled a nat 1, or saying stuff like this. Like, Orc, so good. Such a nice
so good.
That's such a better way of doing it.
Yeah, so if you guys were not aware, Paizo teaming up with our good friends Kobold Press, as well as a score of other incredible third-party publishers, is going to build and release or modify and release their open game license. And it will be released in perpetuity and with no chance of revocation. In fact, it will be managed by another company entirely, whose entire job is to make sure that even Paizo, should it fall into the hands of a big corpo someday, does not come back and try to take it. Which, you want to talk about something absolutely stand up in an age of, like, just greed and corruption. Wow. I feel like I couldn't have picked a better time to try out Pathfinder 2 than, you could watch the VODs from our VODCast, and we have been building towards this naturally, with me and Dom talking about other systems, Dom talking about Cyberpunk, us trying out Cyberpunk, it inspiring me to try out other systems. I felt that Cyberpunk was a bit too nerdy for me, but I wanted to try out some other stuff, so I'm looking, and then, yeah, like, I'm enjoying Pathfinder 2. Is it complicated? Yeah, it's definitely complicated. Does that make it bad? No. Dom's running right now a Cyberpunk game. Everyone seems to be having a blast. Everyone's looking forward to trying Pathfinder this year on our server. And then to see all this stuff shake out, and to see the absolute baller move of, like, Paizo and these third-party publishers just standing up to big corpo and just saying, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to do it our way, and we're going to do it better. It's incredibly inspiring. And if you are curious about it and you do want to try it out, I believe all of the starter stuff on the Paizo store, including the Foundry bundle, is 25% off right now. So you can get the core books, you can get the starter kit, I think you can get the Foundry starter kit as well, for 25% off. Keep in mind that you can just play all of Pathfinder on Foundry for free. You just need to go pick up Foundry, and it all comes built in. It's incredible. So yeah, just it is such a beautiful and kind thing to see amongst all of this betrayal and this lack of trust and this just so it is it is a very positive thing to end on. Very positive thing to end on.
And like I said last week, is like the best thing that's going to come out of this is, you know, everybody who's not going to be able to make, if this went through, and everybody who's not able to make third-party content for D&D is going to find another tabletop to make their third-party content, and that's just going to make that tabletop better. Now, if with this orc thing, if that's, you know, since it's open, it's supposed to be for everybody to use. I guess I think other I'm not sure about, you know, what the systems, what their SRD is going to include, what content is going to fall under it, but any of that content, you know, that can all work together because they're all going to be under that one license, open license. So looking forward to seeing, you know, where all this homebrew goes to.
Yep. All right. Well, that is a good note to end on. So, for everybody that has had their guts twisted up, their hearts broken, their futures made unsteady by the last 2 weeks, I want you to understand that my dog in the fight is very small. As a content creator, as a paid DM, nothing was coming for me specifically that would like impact me too hard. I have some third-party stuff that I've published. I had some third-party things that I was working on, and that sucks. But like, I have friends whose entire career is being a third-party publisher for this 22-year-old open gaming license agreement. And again, these people, this is their livelihood, and you need to understand that. You need to be respectful of that they are upset for a reason. These changes, these unknowns, could be tremendously impactful on their livelihoods, on their lives. So please don't be like blasé about this. Like, what did you think was going to happen? And this is just Big Corpo being Big Corpo. It doesn't change the human element here, people.
Yeah.
Like, these are human beings that work really hard to create and produce stuff for everyone to enjoy, and they're in danger. Okay, and so that's why people are upset. That's why people are canceling their D&D Beyond accounts. I canceled my D&D Beyond subscription. I was right there with everybody else. I was hesitant to do it, but it sent the message, and I wanted to make sure I was there saying the message too. These people, my friends and my, I guess, professional coworkers or whatever within the field of tabletop RPGs, like that means a lot to them to see that support. It's a simple thing to do, but what they don't need to see is people just acting like this isn't a big deal. It's not a big deal to you. You're always going to find a place to play D&D, sure. It's a big deal to them, okay? So please, have some compassion. Think about the stuff that you post. And also, no matter how mad you get, do not go after the human element of this. This is a big corpo situation. Don't be blowing up you know, like any of the Critical Role people. Don't be going after, you know, all of the designers because they refuse to comment on it. These are human beings, and in a lot of situations, their livelihood is at stake too, because they're in a contract or they're in a business arrangement that they can't back out of, or they will be destroyed financially. So you have to understand. Please don't make this worse on those people.
When I heard about the live stream that was going to happen, I was like, what's the guy who always does the
Todd Kendrick? I was like, they're gonna crucify Todd. They're gonna crucify him. I was like, he just got his life back together. Why would you do this to him?
Don't do it.
I wonder if they saw him, you know, like when he was in makeup, like getting ready to go on to give the announcement or whatever, and they just saw him and they were like, this will break this man. And like somebody was like, we can't do it. Even though it's Todd, we can't do it. You can't do it. Todd said he'd do it, but we can't. Todd Kendrick cannot be forced to give this announcement. He will be murdered. Like, we cannot do this. So I do actually kind of respect the cowardice of canceling the stream, because God protect the poor person that whose face would have to be associated with delivering this corpo bullshit. You know?
Yep.
So, oh my God. So here's the thing. Big takeaways. Apparently, when the community does band together, they can actually do something. My friend in our server wanted to know why we didn't use the same energy to, I don't know, like, fight global warming and all sorts of other important political stuff that, you know, like we...
It has nothing to do with entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. This is what we really care about, okay? Anyways, so the things that we really care about, if we band together, we might actually be able to do something. And as you can see here, with open RPG... what gaming license? Where's the C come from? Open RPG content. There we go. That's where the orc comes from. So yeah, this orc licensing, this is all because the community, the real community, not the community that the corpo is trying to farm for money, but the real community knows who they are, sticks together, and in the end will succeed together. So yeah, very inspiring. Good stuff. All right. So, Dom, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I've got game tomorrow morning, game tomorrow night, game Sunday morning, game Sunday night. Get to have the day off from work on Monday, game Monday night. You got a game Tuesday night. We you and me both have a game next Wednesday night. There's you and I have a game together next Thursday night, and then Friday we'll be back here, and hopefully we can talk about. I want to talk about Solasta next week, man, because we're going to be playing Solasta not tomorrow, but next Saturday. And I want to get kind of hyped for that.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
All right. I hope everybody in chat, thank you for hanging out. I hope that some of this was good news. I hope that none of you were taken in by this corpo bullshit, and I hope that you have a good, fun weekend. All right.
All right. Take care.
See you guys next time. Then we go to end.